Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, and in today's video, I'm going to ponder a question. When balancing Yu-Gi-Oh, is it better to add cards to the ban list, or is it better to take cards off the ban list? So I thought this would be a really interesting discussion because it's something that I hear talked about so much in the community, and it's kind of one of those things that's an eternal struggle. Like, you know, there's not a right or wrong answer, different people will tell you different things, and there's honestly a lot of, hypocrisy and stuff surrounding it too. So let me explain. Basically, the question here is, if we're trying to balance Yu-Gi-Oh, right? We're trying to make a deck that's overly powerful. You're trying to balance it and make things more competitive so more different decks can compete. Do you take the choice of like adding more of its cards to the ban list? Let's take Zodiacs, for example. A lot of people want to, Drident, Broad Bull, Barrage. A lot of people want those cards in some capacity to be on the ban list. Maybe ban Broad Bull and limit Drident and limit Barrage, for example. I'm not saying that's, just for example, right? But then on the other hand, you've got a lot of people who want many cards that are banned to come off the ban list. So, you hear the people who are like free Stratos, free Construct, free Shred, free Gateway, free Wind Up Zenmighty, right? All these old cards that people really loved and they want them back so they can play their favorite decks again. So do you see the problem here then? Does this mean that maybe in a year or two, we're gonna have people saying things like, free the Broad Bull, or free Dryden or whatever, bring back Barrage? Because it sounds crazy to say that now because there's such a negative stigma around Zodiacs, but like, let's face it, there was a negative stigma around like Necraz and Shaddolls for a long time. People hated facing those decks, and now that those cards are banned, a lot of their key cards are banned, people want them back. And it can kind of feel hypocritical for people who want, all these new things to get banned and they want their favorite old stuff to come back. It's like, what's the better way to balance the game? And then the next issue then is like, do you want to just throw more cards into the junkyard? Do you want the ban list to be longer? Because for me personally, I'm more of an advocate of like taking cards off the ban list. I don't just mean banned, I also mean, limited and semi-limited too. Like, let's take, Shaddolls, right? I think that Shaddolls Construct should come back. Maybe it should come back to 1 first for, like testing purposes, but I think that it should come back. And I think that what people will find with a lot of these older decks is that even though Yu-Gi-Oh has a power creep problem, it's not nearly as extreme as it's kind of made out to be. Let's take, Shaddolls again, for example, and then there are others too. I think that if El Shaddol Fusion came to 3, and Construct came to 3, and let's also go ahead and put like Mathematician at 3 and all that stuff too. I feel like, honestly, Shaddolls would be highly competitive with Zodiacs right now. And I really do feel like that's the case. And I think the same goes for something like, say, Cosmos. I think the Dark Destroyer was at 3, and Emergency Teleport and all those cards, if those were at 3, then Cosmos versus Zodiacs would be a very, balanced match. Cosmos might even have a big edge there. So I think that it's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, the new stuff's just so broken, it just all needs to get banned, it's even stronger than the old stuff. That's the case, like, kind of in the big scheme of things. But when you think of cards that have just kind of been released in the last few years, I would beg to differ, right? So the question then, to you is the game more balanced if more of these strong older decks are allowed to compete? If Shaddolls and Cosmos and Wind-Ups, maybe that's an older example, but Wind-Ups or Six Sams and things like that, heroes, are allowed to get their strongest cards, would that be better or would it be worse? So like I said, I think it's better to have more powerful decks exist. I don't have a problem with powerful decks as long as there's something of a power circle going on. I don't like, the current climate of Zodiacs where, it's just like Zodiac or Zodiac Hybrid, and that's like basically the top 8, top 16, top 32 of like any given tournament is just nothing but Zodiac decks. That's no fun. But imagine if, it was some Zodiacs, some True Draco, some Cosmos, some Shaddolls, some Necraz, things like that. I think that if that was the case, then yeah, I would be all for it. Sure, all the decks would be really strong and really powerful, but at least, there's a lot of variety there, and at least it means that you're bound to have something that you enjoy playing among those decks. And plus, who wants a really long ban list that's just full of more increasing amounts of old cards, right? Like, you know, the ban list almost turns into a yearbook of just like, oh, this was good this year, this was good that year, this was, you know, I would rather see more of these decks just be able to come back than us just throwing more cards onto the ban list. That just feels, you know, that's lame. And I think, you know, and this is kind of a different topic for a different time, but, you know, even the errated cards that Konami's been doing lately, where, you know, they've been errating a lot of these banned cards, and some people don't like the erratas, you know, Future Fusion, for example, Crush card. Most of the errated cards aren't as good as they once were, and people kind of get mad about that, but I at least admire the effort to clean this ban list up a little bit. It's no good to just have a ban list of just actually hundreds of cards, you know, like at least try to get some stuff off the ban list. And I think that more stuff really should come off, even without an errata. There are a lot of banned monsters, for example, that I really don't think would make like a huge dent in today's game. Maybe the spells and traps are a different story, but, you know, and that even goes for cards that are like limited right now and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that I just think like could just kind of come off the ban list, and we might have a perfectly fine game. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that it's better to, you know, add cards to the ban list when it comes to balancing the game right now? You know, do you want to just see the Zodiacs all get nailed to, you know, the cross or whatever on the ban list? Or would you rather see a lot of old fan favorites come back and see if that makes it more competitive? Or would that just cause like more just, you know, strife and chaos in the whole game? It would just be a bunch of overpowered decks. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. I prefer the latter, but, you know, it's up to you. What do you guys think? I'm going to add a poll at the top of the video. You can click it and vote. Do you think it's better to add cards to the ban list, or do you think it's better to take cards off the ban list? And of course, I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know. Is this, you know, is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What's right? What's wrong? What do you prefer? Let's make it a conversation. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 70,000 subscribers, so I'm really excited about that. And remember, I'm doing a giveaway this week. There's some details in the video I uploaded on Monday, and giving away a San Diego Comic-Con playmat, which is really cool. And check out my sponsor, TCG Player. They're awesome. Follow me on social media. I think that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in the next one.